You're welcome to Smart TV Africa. My name is Kato Mukasa. In the studio is Dennis Bongole to do the production. Every Saturday, we always have experts in fields of agriculture, consumer activism, and others. And today, we shall continue talking about agroecology. And of course, in the studio, we have Mr. Bernard Bwambale, we have Mr. Albert Kakande, we have Mr. Kimera, and the team. We are here. I want to welcome the team. Most welcome, Mr. Albert Kakande.
Thank you very much, Bwana Kato. It's a chilly afternoon here out here, so the rain has stopped me from using our agroecological background, so I have to be a little indoors. So good to see you again.
Yes, we always enjoy your green environment outside. What today we shall do with the studio environment. Now, Mr. Bwambale Bernard, you are most welcome. But again, I want to welcome you to give us an introduction, to give us a background to what we covered last time. And of course, Mr. Kimera, you are most welcome.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Kato.
and good afternoon.
Bwambale, you are most welcome to give us that. Then we shall go to Mr. Kimera.
Okay, thanks. So, colleagues, you're most welcome once again this weekend for this show. Of course, we have come a long way discussing a number of aspects on agroecology. We have already covered what agroecology is, and I think that all our people out there are following us, understanding what the concept of agroecology looks like and what exactly it is. We've looked at why we need to invest in agroecology and what agroecology can be able to solve here and there in terms of agriculture, food production, diversification of farms, and also income generation for our people. We have gone into the details of looking at the different principles of agroecology and how agroecology can be implemented at local level, at community level. The other time, we were able to look at the participatory guarantee system that the farmers can guarantee each other to produce agroecologically produced safer food for the population. But also, we went ahead to look at the different practical sessions, really looking at where are these agroecological farms. And I think in the previous episodes, we were able to look at the different farms enriched with agroecological principles and in real practice, sharing with experts like Mr. Kakande Albert, looking at exactly how the farm looks like and how the agroecological farm would look like and how really people are doing a lot of interesting things out there. And also sharing that these guys can offer us capacity to also implement some of these things. And so today we come back to continue from where we stopped, basically now looking at how this agroecology can be mainstreamed in other programs of government and also civil society spaces, and how we can leverage on agroecology to feed the world. So how do we mainstream these national agroecological strategies actually to realize agroecology as a potential, of course, to livelihoods, to food security, to nutrition security, among others. And so today, of course, the colleagues, Albert and Chimera Henry, and of course myself, we shall be sharing again in details when it comes to this new aspect. Thank you so much, Mukasa.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. Julius Echedo, you are most welcome, sir. Julius, can you hear us? Julius, can you hear us? I can see you, but can you hear us? Julius, if you can hear me, please.
Yes. Yes, I'm trying to pick you, but I can hear you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. Thank you so much. This is Mr. Julius.
Good afternoon once more.
Good afternoon to you and our viewers. Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Mr.
I would
Julius,
like to
if you,
thank everyone. Yes, please. Hello.
please continue. Julius, if you can hear
Yes,
me,
I would like to
go
thank
ahead.
everyone this afternoon who has joined us for this mainstreaming.
Julius is actually
Julius,
muted.
Julius, you have muted. We cannot hear you. You have muted. We cannot hear you. Please unmute. You touched your microphone. Please unmute. Unmute it. Check your screen and then touch the mic. Unmute it. Julius, we cannot hear you. If you can hear me, please unmute. I don't know whether Dennis can help him. I know because I don't know whether they can hear me, but we need to hear him properly. Julius, can you hear me now? Julius, you are now okay to speak. We can hear you. Please, can you go ahead and tell us about what you do in Ikalaki and other programs you're doing right there?
Yes.
Please go ahead and tell us about the work you do. Julius, if you can hear me, go ahead and tell us about the work you do. Julius, can you hear me?
Hello.
Julius, we can hear you. If you can hear me, can you hear
Hello.
me? Please go ahead and speak. Can you hear me? I think we have a problem with Julius, maybe network. Today, we are lucky to have him on set, but again, network is a big challenge there. So let us continue with the program. Mr. Kimera, give us, again, a brief recap of the month of April. Bambal has been able to take us through what we covered last time. Let us hear from you about a recap of April, then we shall go straight to Mr. Kakandi to take us through the Musa. So, Mr. Kimera, back to you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. It has been what a month of April, and when you look at the month of April has got the letters of agroecology, it is only letter P that misses out on April to get the month of agroecology. So who are we not to have chosen agroecology as our topic of the month? And we are greatly honored that still we are dealing with agroecology when the month of May, with all the rains that are coming in, and the rains have today led us to miss out on Mr. Kakande being in the agroecological environment outdoors, but even indoors, the indoor is made agroecologically beautiful because the outside is beautiful. So having said that, we started the month of April with looking at soil health as our agroecology playing a role in soil health, and we would like to thank our colleagues in Slow Food who managed to start us with John, and then John gave us his colleague who is in charge of training agroecology. So we went through the different approaches and applications and sharing of knowledge, plus trainings, building capacity of communities and agroecology. And we would like to thank our colleagues in Pelham who also helped us to bring on board Albert Kakande using their knowledge hub coming in to show us even the the practicals and showing us the practices, knowing now the technologies that we have been hearing, but now we saw them in operation, and getting assurances and motivation that agroecology works, agroecology can deliver, and we have seen the practitioners. So we managed to see agroecology in business when we were with Richard Mugisha at Gero Farm. Now we have gone through the series with Albert Kakande, going through agroecology still in the farm environment, and even seeing him consuming some of the products from agroecology. The most captivating, and was even to Kato, seeing regenerations of soils, regeneration of the environment, the farmland through agroecology, and going back to the indigenous knowledge of our great grandparents, bringing it in modernity, and and showing, yes, we can if we are determined to use agroecological approaches in our environment, in rural, peri-urban, and in urban environment or setups. So that has led us through the month of April, and here we are today discussing the importance of mainstreaming the national strategies, or the strategies of agroecology in our national frameworks that can trigger upscaling of agroecology at all levels of society, even going into national policies, going into national budgets, going into national investments. So this is something very key that we are going to discuss, and using the practical examples from a practitioner that are going to give us different insights in this key aspect. So Kato, I know you're already excited, having seen the videos from Albert, seeing the processes of showing the alternatives that are ecologically friendly and that are all organic and all falling under the umbrella of agroecology. So colleagues, it's a great honor. Today we are going to dig into why we should mainstream the agroecological strategies and see how best they can benefit us at household, community level, regional level, and national level, and beyond. So thank you very much, Kato, and I look forward to the session of today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kimera, for that very brief take on what we have covered in April. And of course, Kakande said that actually P has a place in April in terms of agroecology. He talked about permaculture. I want to appreciate that. Now, going to Mr. Kakande. Mr. Kakande, we are talking about mainstream. Talking about how to integrate agroecology into the mainstream, how to talk about policies and all that. But I know that you have also shared with us very exciting videos about how do we make organic fertilizers? How do we run away from destroying our soils? Now, that is part of mainstream. That is part of doing something that is going to be helping us as farmers, as the people that want to chase poverty from our households. Now, Mr. Kakande, let us talk about mainstreaming and how you get all these ideas of organic agriculture. And take us through this. And as you talk, you shall also be able to showcase some of these videos. So, Mr. Kakande, back to you.
Thank you, Zaikato. Good afternoon, colleagues, once again. Now, issues of mainstreaming national agroecology strategies. Last week, I hinted about the approach, the PGS approach. But this time, I think if it's a strategy, a national strategy that will work, that will make agroecology work, we need to look at another tool, another approach. When dealing with the communities down there, grassroots levels, it's the family. Now, today I want to talk about the farmer family learning group as the basic. If we are to scale up agroecology, the farmer family has to be involved from day one, has to be upbeat from day one. Now, a farmer family is a family that is practicing farming. Now, not in the conventional way, but in the agroecological way, the organic way. This is an approach. If the strategy is to work, this is an approach where we aggregate 10 families, 10 farming families that are close to each other, yeah, to be each family is learning from another. If I'm a facilitator, if I'm an organic agriculture facilitator or teacher, or call it anything you want, you know, I teach one family, or I gather 10 heads of families close to each other. Then those heads will go back and each one teaches their family. Then they will do a rotational review or kind of practical sessions in order to implement what we taught about agroecology, about organic agriculture. So one family visits another, the other one also visits another in a rotational basis. So it's farmer family based. It's the basic unit. You know, we talk about the family as the basic unit of civilization, of administration, of anything. If the strategy is to work, we need to go back to this farmer on the grassroots. Then let us connect one farming family to the neighboring farming family, connect to the other neighbor, to another neighbor. So if we get 10 farming families close to each other, there will be supervision, there will be monitoring, there will be motivation, there will be encouragement. You know, each family will be looking to be better than the other in practicing in practicing the agroecology, organic, and everything you can think about. As a national strategy, we cannot think bottom down. Is it bottom down? It should be rather no, it's
Top,
top bottom.
bottom. Or
Top
bottom
bottom.
up. What do you want to say?
But rather we want a bottom up. Now, as a facilitator, as a farmer trainer, if I have disseminated the knowledge, the agroecology knowledge to one family, I want to capture the entire village now. Yeah. Now, if the entire village has appreciated that we want to mitigate drought, we want to mitigate climate change effects, we want to mitigate soil health issues. Now, I have taught one family head, the family head scales it down into the house. You see, up to the last child in the house knows that, oh, we must not use an agrochemical, we must compost, we must feed this plant, we must nourish the soil. So one family gets it, another family is contaminated with the same good news, then another family, the entire village now is upbeat about it. So this is we call it the FFLG approach, farmer family learning groups. These are groups. We group the families into 10 groups, 10 families per group. If a village has about 20 groups, no problem, as long as we are scaling up to the parish level, sub-county level, and district level. In this way, our strategies at national level as governments will be easier, one, to monitor, and two, to be applicable and seen as sensible issues. Otherwise, if it is the other approach, what did you say? Top to bottom. It's a boardroom strategy that, oh, okay, yes, now we need to create markets for the agroecological produced products. We need to take in such innovations. You know, you're thinking about it, but the person you're thinking for has not even appreciated that it makes sense. So our FFLG approach is capturing the farmer, the last child in the house first to appreciate this. Then it will work upwards to the powers. So we have several tools we use. There's what we call the agroecological system analysis. I mean, this is a tool which guides the family now, the compound. How have you used the water? How have you harvested the water? How have you done the trenching? How have you done the mulching? How have you incorporated animal husbandry in the crop production? You see, now these are the basics, the simple things we talked about last week that are really going to make agroecology something sustainable and appreciated. And it will inform now the national strategy. You see, now at national level or middle national level, we see now the farming families are set and are upbeat about agroecology. Now, what do we need to do? We must ensure that whatever they produce agroecologically is absorbed and taken up and not confused with the conventionally produced product. So what do they do now? Make a strategy, make plans to create agroecological markets. Here I want to thank Pelham Uganda for pioneering this, because centers of excellence, markets, agroecological markets have been, don't know too many, but the approach has been conceived now and rolling out steadily. Farmers get to know that, oh, there is someone who can buy a kilogram of organically produced tomatoes at 15,000 Uganda shillings, as opposed to going to the conventional market and buy a heap of 20 tomatoes at 5,000, yet they are not healthy, you see? So strategy-wise, the leaders in the pyramid have a duty now to look at the markets. They also have a duty to see that knowledge is actually effectively disseminated, or agroecological knowledge, organic agriculture knowledge is disseminated. You see, as we are preparing the farmer family now, they have to get knowledge. Who will take the knowledge there? It is us now, the experts, the seniors, the consultants in the field. Now, strategy, boardroom strategy makers have to find ways of empowering now the extension workers, because mainstream government systems work with extension workers, leave alone us who are in the privately run entities. So extension workers are at every sub-county. But what knowledge are they disseminating? What agroecology knowledge are they disseminating to the farmers now that we have prepared to conceive the baby called agroecology and nurture the baby in the womb and produce it and have it sustainable and change the world? So usually when we are in the field out there, we find ourselves playing a ping pong game, us in the private, the enthusiasts of the organic agriculture, the permaculture, the agroecology sector, playing ping pong with the government employed extension workers. You know, they will come with an order. We were told we must ensure food safety and food security. Therefore, whether we are bringing in an energy, what is that? What's that, Bambare? NGO, those seeds. What are they? Sorry, the word is running.
You mean the GMOs?
The GMO. GMO, whether it's an agrochemical to kill grass, whether it's a chemical pesticide, they will not mind, as long as there is food in the compound of the farmer. So they don't mind about the aftermath. So this is why I'm saying we find ourselves in the field. I mean, ping ponging. You guys, you are telling people to stop using agrochemicals. Now, how will the government get in income if they don't import the agrochemicals? So strategy-wise, I think it's a tricky part for the part of the systems that rule for the governments, but it's an easier one for us in the private sector to to disseminate it down. This is why strategies, such strategies of PGS, the FFLG, using the ISA tools. There's what we call the PESA model of agroecology input marketing. We are able to do that, you know, with the help of the privately owned entities, the PELAMs, the AXAs. I'm talking about those ones here in Uganda. So if we are really intentional and want this to work, it may come at a snail speed kind of approach from the mainstream government systems, but it's now up to us. If I teach a farmer, if I teach a farming family, that family benchmarks from another. I mean, we widen the net, we cast the net wider. The entire village is done. We shall do our things. By the time these guys realize that, oh, we must make an impact in walking the talk. If the SDGs are telling us something about climate, something about food sovereignty and security, something about health and nutrition, then we must walk the talk. We must see what the private sector guys are doing, and this must inform the strategy. So agroecology basically, to me, as a practitioner in my country, where Wambale and Chimera and Kato and Julius dwell, we know it's not that appreciated. It's not yet appreciated because, one, the other entity, the ruling entity, will look at an income. It will look at a tax. I mean, we want taxes. So whether the soils are degraded, whether you deforested to whatever capacities, as long as an investor has come in, I mean, take the swamp away, take the forest away. I mean, you know. So let us take the endeavors, we with the grassroots players, the private sector players, to make these simple strategies work. Let us capture the family first, you know.
Thank you so much.
We shall see agroecology really grow wings and expand to the limits.
Mr. Kakan, thank you so much. That is really good. We shall get back to you. Now that Mr. Julius is here. Mr. Julius, if you can hear me, I want to hear from you. Our audience would like to hear from you. Mr. Julius, I've seen the work you do. I was able to see the photography of the work you do. But the audience, those guys watching us, would like to know who is Julius and what do you exactly do? As we talk about mainstreaming agroecology, I've seen you already doing grassroots work. May you please tell the audience what you do in Kalaki in terms of improving agricultural production in your area? Mr. Julius, if you can hear me, please unmute. Julius, can you hear us? Julius, if you can hear us, please unmute. We want to hear from you. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much for giving. Yes, I can hear. I'd like to say that in Kalaki here, basing on the topic today. Hello?
Go ahead,
basing on
Julius.
the topic today, in fact, the mainstreaming, we need to be productive. You know, there is what you call the GDP. We need to see that we look at health. We need to see that, are we fair? Are we following?
Julius' network, I know, is a problem there, but Julius is a multiplier farmer. I wanted to know exactly what it means to be a multiplier farmer, but some of the network is disturbing us, and of course, we should excuse us.
I'll explain the multiplier bit. I'll explain it.
Yes, let us go back to Kakande, please. Let us know about multiplier farming. And as you explain, I'm going to request the producer to show us those images. Please go ahead, Kakande, and Dennis can show us the images of multiplying farming. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Sorry for my colleague Julius. He's a colleague at the project, the Knowledge Hub for Organic Agriculture in Eastern Africa. And on that project, a multiplier is a model, a trainer, is a farmer trainer, a model, like you see with the products we are doing. So a multiplier is the equivalent of a facilitator, a master facilitator, or a trainer of trainers, or a teacher of farmers. So that's a multiplier. But you must be doing this work. You must be showing something. You must be a model, you know. So that is what multiplier means on our project with the Knowledge Hub.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see that's quite important. Now, Mr. Kimera, back to you. Mr. Kimera, back to you. Mr. Kimera, if you can hear me. Mr. Kimera, we're talking about mainstreaming.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we're talking about mainstreaming and looking at the importance of mainstreaming. Please, may you take us through the mainstreaming process, but also the importance if we do mainstreaming? How do we benefit as farmers? And how can it get us out of poverty, especially in Africa?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kato. I'll look at it from a number of aspects. Taking us out of poverty will be a growth process, because now in an abyss, we have to be got out from the deep end in the swimming pool, and we walk towards the shallow end. And this can be done in many aspects. Now, agroecology is one of the aspects to help restoration of challenged production environment with the different vagaries that have been brought in by human practices. Some are deforesting, others overuse or abuse of chemicals or plant protection products. Others coming due to misuse of the natural resources. But now, as we are rethinking how best we can regenerate, how we can renourish the environment we are operating in, given the challenges climate change has brought, one of the aspects is agroecology approaches and also mainstreaming it. So how can this be done? It needs to bring together the different stakeholders who are in the food system or who are in food flow. So they need to come in and start appreciating the role of agroecology. This does not only, it is not something new, like Mr. Kakande mentioned sometime in the earlier sessions, all the slow food and others mentioned. Some of nearly all the practices in agroecology, we still practice them both knowingly and unknowingly. So, but mainstreaming it helps us to now ground them and also motivate people who are doing it to see that they are doing the right thing, and also encourage governments and different stakeholders who are looking at it differently to start looking at it positively, as it has different roles it plays. So looking at some of the 5 key aspects or approaches, it needs to bring it in an integrated, participatory, inclusive understanding and sharing. Let's look at the way Mr. Kakande, Richard, John brought in all these aspects. Some of the players out there are already practicing it knowingly and unknowingly, and they are contributing to bring about sustainability. So we have to integrate them as we are mainstreaming them. They bring in the good practices. You'll find that some people can talk good agricultural practices as when they are doing bad practices that not only affect the environment, but also affect the economic aspects and also end up affecting the social. In social, people will ask themselves, how do we affect the social if we are doing bad practices? You bring in health consequences. You bring in food safety. You come in with unsafe food because of the bad practice. You bring in unsafe water. You bring in unsafe environment in which we live and produce. Then we end up affecting our livelihoods. So once it is integrated, we use an integrated approach. Different players come in and play a role. Then they bring in the good practices, they bring in solutions, experience, there is co-creation. So these are some of the aspects that are key to bring to mainstream innovations come in. Look at Mr. Kakande's videos that we are going to watch. There might be people who think that there is no role with using ecological approaches in agriculture in a modern time. So once we are mainstreaming it, this will enable us to start appreciating, regenerating, let's say, the environment from which we are producing from, bringing in good practices that we had forgotten, bringing modernity into what we call obsolete technology. But all this will bring in the co-creation. This will facilitate rural, peri, and urban agriculture, benefiting the environment, benefiting the food systems, benefiting our economic approaches. So all these integrated innovations, bringing in co-creation, inclusivity, and reducing on waste, you'll find that we are living in a time of scarce resources, challenged environment. So once we mainstream agroecological practices, this is going in one way or another reduce on foreign exchange, because we will be using local materials for production. We will reduce the footprint, the production print. So there are many other advantages once we mainstream and make our agriculture ecological, or make our food production ecological. So there are many benefits. So mainstreaming then will bring in, if we follow good agricultural practices, all good practices, bring in food that is benefiting the environment, benefiting our economic aspects, and benefiting our human. So we'll be a healthy, productive communities. So those are some of the aspects and many others. So mainstreaming is very key to benefit us as the human race, to benefit, to have a healthy One Health, where the environment is healthy, the planet is also healthy, and we human beings, both and even animals, we are all healthy. So
Thank you so
that's
much.
the few I can bring in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mira. Now, before you go back to Bambali, let us go back to Julius. Julius, you have had a charge with the network, but I think this time around you are going to be much better. Julius, if you can hear me, we are much more interested to know the work you do in Kalaki. Julius, may you please go ahead? We don't want to interrupt you. We want to give you the time to explain to us what you do in Kalaki. Julius, if you can hear me, please unmute. Go ahead.
Sorry for inconvenience. Only what I want to say that I'm a multiplier here in Kalaki, not only in Kalaki, but also parts of Teso I do media. I work in about 2 radio stations in Teso. That is Kyoga Veritas. We have that is the Voice of Serere, which is also in one of the Teso districts. So the program that I always run, it's all about organic agriculture. But basing today, what the program is all about, we are looking at the benefits of mainstreaming, and I will enable us to be productive, because if I see a farmer from a certain country, like for instance, I myself, when I took a visit to do, okay, I saw something which was happening in Kenya. So those are some of the practices that I also had to adopt, and I also had to multiply to the what, to the farmers. So the main thing that mainstreaming will enable us is to be productive, and when we are productive, therefore we shall have healthy food through organic agriculture or agroecology. We need the food. We need as we are doing the production, we need to be taking care. We need to bring the aspect of fairness. We need to bring ecology. And the second point is multiplying. We needed to, of course, to multiply the agroecology in Africa, because through this mainstreaming, we'll be in position to learn from different areas and yeah, from different platforms, and we shall be in position to what? To multiply it. We can also have to do the distribution through this mainstreaming. We'll be in position to distribute whatever knowledge. And as per now in Teso here, I've started the project in visiting the schools, churches, where people gather and they go and learn different technologies. As you see behind me, there's that one, of course, the technologies like the wet garden, the sack mount. There, because in the school we have 100 students and above, so we'll be positioned in the next 2 years, you'll be able to see that people will be having a much production, therefore increasing the GDP of our country. So there is also the other aspect is to subdue. We need to control the market, dominating the market in Africa. We also need to see that what comes into the market, because if a farmer from maybe Somalia or Sudan is not doing a rightful practices, you'll be in position to see that our food, because farmer A or farmer B will bring them the products to the market, and we shall be still doing nothing. So we need to make sure that these practices, we are aiming at dominating the market for organic products in Africa. We have also the mainstreaming will help us in connection sustainably in Africa, because in terms of production, whatever products or service, we'll be in position to see what is happening from the other country to this other country. Then we shall have food safety, security, and also be able to replicate the knowledge to other people. So I also have some submissions, as in sometimes when I go to train farmers out there, there is I always give them marks. For instance, 20% I give them. Whoever sees, you only get 20%. Whoever see and hear gives 40. Whoever see, hear, and do gives 60. Then 80, that is see, hear, do, and discover. And then, of course, the 100 is see, hear, do, discover, and inspire. So as per now, I'm in that 100%, whereby I saw what was happening. I had to do, had to discover what the importance of organic agriculture, and then now I'm in the process of inspiring others, as we do in the mainstreaming. So all what we have to know is that organic agriculture looks at one, health. Number two is economy. We need the raw materials. We need, of course, the study purpose, and of course the sustainability. So as in Africa, that should be the main thing when we are talking about organic agriculture in mainstreaming. You need to look at the economy, you need to look at more so the health materials, the raw materials, because through those, that is our main objective of talking about agroecology, whatever we are talking, but it's all about health. So if we put a mindset to everyone in Africa that health is wealth, therefore, how do you get wealth? You get through health. So the most important thing is to say that we are healthy. We will be very happy to see that somebody from Ethiopia, somebody from that is Rwanda, somebody from Uganda is healthy, because without him or without anybody, okay, we cannot talk about organic agriculture. I have been carrying some studies truly that you find that some areas in some villages, you may keep quiet that I'm an organic farmer. So you do the best what you can do, but the farmer, the next neighbor, is not bothering. So therefore, the mainstreaming will enable us to awaken everyone to know that there is something that has to be to be done. So the importance of mainstreaming, we look at the brand visibility, as you saw from my videos, my short photos. If you are visible, then the other person is able to copy and paste what you're doing. Then also there is also customer outreach and the engagements. So if we do this, then we are engaging our customers, and they will be in position to market our organic products, because they are able to see from the mainstreaming. So I encourage the aspect of mainstreaming so much, because there is also the market positioning. We can also be in position to say that our markets through this mainstreaming will be positioned. Then, of course, driving sales and revenue. If we have this mainstreaming and ongoing, we in a position to say that
Yes, Julius, I can hear you. If you can continue to wrap up. Julius, thank you so much. Bwambali, let's go back to you now. It has been some time of listening. Bwambali, I would like to hear from you in terms of strategies. What are we talking about right here in terms of strategies that are going to take us forward?
Thank you so much, colleagues, for the discussion. You know, the question you're asking me, I had some bit of background information I wanted to first provide. Then
Please go ahead.
be able to answer the strategies. Now, you see, one thing we need to first talk about or to identify is what is agroecology addressing in our countries. So, for example, in Africa, we have the highest burden of malnutrition, especially undernutrition. And basically, it comes because of monotonous diets, as I said last time. But you realize that agroecology, because of its diversification, it is able to address the challenge of malnutrition. Two, if our leaders are aware that malnutrition is killing most of our children, by the way, undernutrition, overnutrition, nutrition-related diseases, they are killing our people just because people are starving or people are eating the same kind of food over and over again, which challenge can only be solved if we have agroecology, if people can actually have diversity on their farms and they have a lot of food produced, so they have the liberty to have diversity on their plates. And this can be a solution to malnutrition. So if you look at the principles of agroecology around the principle of diversification, in Africa, we know that people eat what they have. What people have at home is actually what they eat. So the more food they have on the farm, it's the more they are likely to eat that. So I think that would be one thing that our governments are supposed to look at. What can solve the issue of malnutrition? If it is agroecology, why isn't the government or our governments investing in this agroecology? So for example, if I take you back to Uganda specifically, we have NARU, National Agricultural whatever organization. But if you go to NARU and you find out, if you go to NARU and try to, if you move to, if you moved to NARU and you try to find out which kind of research NARU does, they have very limited research they are doing on agroecology. Most of the research is done by our entities. So you will realize that the amount of research, the amount of investment that countries are making on agroecology is very minimal compared to the synthetic, the GMOs and all that, meaning that the interest of government seems not to be, the interest of government seems not to be in agroecology. And one of the strategies then would be, how do we ensure that governments become interested in the subject of agroecology and then invest in it? The moment there is no government will, to invest in agroecology, it becomes a challenge. So one of the strategies of mainstreaming, our governments must ensure that they invest in agroecology. If, for example, you go to the market and say, where are the agroecological inputs? For example, where are the agroecological inputs? You will find that if Ministry of Agriculture invests in inputs, most of the inputs that they are investing in are actually not the agroecological inputs. So how do the farmers who are interested in doing agroecology, how are they going to get inputs if the governments are not promoting agroecological inputs? So for us to be able to mainstream agroecology, we need to have an investment in agroecological transition as governments, as countries. There must be a commitment towards this. Secondly, agroecology is addressing the aspect of agroecology addresses aspects of poverty. As governments are transitioning, you'll realize that many people are poor just because they don't have sources of income. But when you look at the principles of agroecology, you will realize that you have so many enterprises on a small piece of land or on your piece of land, which can actually be income generating. And if a farmer is generating income on their farm, they are able to get money, they are able to get resources to pay school fees and other dues for their children. So you realize that agroecology, if well done, it can actually mitigate challenges around poverty. For the last many years, countries have been talking about poverty, but they are not investing in the cause of poverty. We are just investing in symptoms, managing symptoms, but we are not managing the risk factors or the causes of poverty. So I think that all our people who are planning for countries, we must prioritize planning for agroecology. If you go to our homes down there in our sub-counties, every sub-county in Uganda, for example, has an agriculture officer or an extension officer. But how many of those agriculture officers have even the capacity to take lead in the agroecological principles? When you go to where they are training from, we are only training synthetic chemicals and all this, meaning there is still a capacity gap when it comes to agroecology. We are not prioritizing it, and yet we need it to solve many challenges. It is the same to environment. Agroecology can solve so many climatic change issues, but how many times do we invest in it? Because agroecology, if it can solve the issue of climate change, why not invest in agroecology so that we can hit agroecology for production of food, for diets, for environment, and etc. So I think in terms of mainstreaming, we need to know that the moment we mainstream agroecology in our work, we shall sort the issue of diets, we shall sort the issue of health, we shall sort the issue of economics, we shall sort the issue of environmental conservation, And at the end of the day, we have a healthier population, we have a healthier nation, and people become more productive, and then the nation grows. The moment we don't reason it in that way, we shall end up having challenges and we remain talking about the same thing over and over again without actually coming up with solutions. And maybe as I wind up, there is an issue of waste management in most of our towns. But you realize that actually agroecology even solves the issue of waste management, fortunately. Because if there is a lot of waste in the market and people are doing agroecology, it means many farmers, if they are empowered, they can easily go and collect this waste from markets and they come and use it to make productive fertilizer or manure or whatever for their gardens. But the challenge is now we are accumulating a lot of waste in our markets because there is no person who is reusing it to make productive, important substances out of them. You can imagine if we have, in Mbale, the other time they were telling us they are gathering about 100 metric tons of waste from the markets. And this is organic waste. The question is, don't we have farmers who can use this organic waste and make manure out of them? It is just because we have not empowered our communities that actually this waste you have can actually be reused to give you more manure. If maybe Kato, you could remember in your village here in Uganda, in the early days when you are still 10 years or 20, you'd realize that whenever it rained, everyone would be happy. Because children, actually the farmers were happy that the runoff is coming with manure. It is coming to actually fertilize your garden. Unfortunately, these days, whenever it rains, the agroecological farmers are even worried because the runoff is actually bringing chemical instead of bringing manure. It is actually bringing chemical. So this is where we need to strategize. How do we invest more in organic farming or in agroecology to make sense out of what we can benefit from agroecology? And of course, when you look at the issues of health, it is just obvious. We've talked about these things, but I think we are lacking. How do we bring our decision makers, our duty bearers to the same speed of understanding? The moment you start considering tax at the expense of a human being, then you are wrong character. And I think that is where we are failing from. So I would urge, first of all, the farmers, what the brother was calling the family farmers, let us embrace these agroecological principles. We start trying to implement agroecology at household level, at community level. The only question would be, do we have resources to support this process? Then our civil society organizations, our private sector, our NGOs, our governments, we must put money in sensitizing communities, in creating awareness, in capacity building, in bringing the technologies closer to the farmers, in proving science that our indigenous way of production can make sense and produce food for this nation or for our East African or African continent, even feeding the rest of the people. So I think when you're discussing this mainstreaming issue, these are my perspectives, thinking of how do we relate agroecology with the challenges we have and get the actors who are responsible for this and all of us go into the fight to promote agroecology in our areas of work. I think, Kato, that is what I can add on for now, and I hope it adds some bit of value to what our colleagues were discussing a little bit earlier. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwambale. Thank you so much, Bwambale. Now we are going to conclude this show with what Mr. Kakande supplied us with. Dennis, may you please have a look at those videos, and then Kakande will come in to give us some bit of fresh as the showcasing. Dennis, just have a look at those videos.
So we are here at one of the Memago centers, and this is one of their facilities where they do prepare the compost for pelleting, and it's a process. Yeah, so we're here. They're seeing Mr. Albert. Yeah, hello, Mr. Albert.
Yes. Morning.
Morning, how are you?
How are you, my friend?
Fine, thank you.
Yes.
So what are you doing down there?
So we are here. This is one of Memaga Agroecology Group's centers where we compost and do we call it the bio-enriched compost. This is an organic fertilizer. We use bioslurry and rabbit manure, compost them together. Definitely, there's a lot of organic matter, like you can see. This is a setting where we compost and make sure microbiology also takes center stage. There's a lot of living organisms here. So our final product is called Jimusa pellet fertilizer. So after composting, like I said, we bring the bioslurry. If you can see, the bioslurry, you know, it's a product from biogas extraction. After the biogas, then the substrate that comes off is bioslurry. So we bring it in our pits, compost it with the rabbit manure, like you can see. So everything composts together and breaks down evenly. Then we definitely put organic matter, I mean decomposing leaves, decomposing goat waste. This is why we built this under the goat's pen, because the rabbit manure and the goat manure give us nearly the same. So we ensure that whatever remains from up, the goats, comes and joins the compost pits. So now you can see it has composted and is uniform. We can now see that there's rabbit manure mixed with the bioslurry, a lot of leaves, a lot of decomposing material, such that our fertilizer, our finished product, is a standard organic fertilizer. So we compost this together for about 6 to 8 weeks. In that period, we are sure there is excess water has drained. This is why our pit is earthen. It's not concrete, because after this stage we are going to shift it to the our small processing unit. We have a mini processing unit and a small pelletizing machine, which we are going to be seeing. So this is now finished. Okay, a farmer can use this as direct as it is. Okay. But since we want to add value and extend to another farmer, we add value by pelletizing it, making it in pellet form. So the pellet form helps the packaging, and then movement is a movement to another market, another farmer who will wish to buy. So this is it.
So what you want to say is transporting pelleted compost is easier than transporting the raw organic compost.
It's much easier because it's packed in bags. It's like you'll go to a shop and buy a bag of rice. It's not the same as going to the garden and get a heap of rice and put it on a vehicle. So and on top of it, the underlying issue there is adding value. You must add value. Along the value chain, there must be added value add. Value add fetches you more profit. It's smarter and unique, so things get going well if value is added at any point. So this is what we tell our farmers, that at any point of your value chain, whether it's bananas, whether it's sweet potato, you must add value somewhere. I mean, a sweet potato farmer can just add value by washing their potatoes and take them to the store when they are clean. That is value add. So you always fetch more if there's some value add. So you can see why we do this under the goat's pen. All this is manure. So all this now we have scooped quite the size of this. This is why you see our pit is going down. But the next time we are bringing slurry, these ones now will be composting with the bioslurry. So you can see that is pit number 1. We also have pit number 2 this side. So there's a lot of composting going on. This is now. These are the leftover leaves, or rather grass from the goats pen. it would look like the normal composting, normal farmyard composting. But this is carefully done because we know by slurry will give us a reasonable amount of phosphorus, especially, and then the goat manure, rabbit manure will give us a higher amount of potassium and nitrogens. Definitely.
What we are learning is how to make organic fertilizers. Those of you watching us, what Mr. Kand is teaching us is how to make organic fertilizers. They call them Jemusa organic solid fertilizers. Right here, we are learning the process, how these are made in Uganda. So we can take a leaf and learn from the experts how we can preserve our soils, how we can fertilize them without destroying them. So here we are learning how to make organic fertilizers. I want to invite Mr. Kakamna to explain, as the videos go on, what is it being mixed? How long does it take? Yes.
Okay. The first video is the making of Jimusa, the pellet fertilizer. Now, in these subsequent videos, the video where you see the many people, we are making fertilizer we call bokashi. Now, for our medium to large scale farmers, there has been a concern that our organic farm inputs are like expensive. So someone asks you, if I have 10 acres of maize, I have 10 acres of banana, how much Jimusa am I going to apply? There's always that cost attached. Like remember last week I told you the choice to go organic agriculture is a mind game. So if you switch on in the first periods of applying the inputs, the cost may not worry you too much because you are driven by passion to change. So for those of our colleagues, our farmers who worry a lot about the costs of the fertilizers, we encourage them to make that particular one, the Jimusa one, rather the Bokashi. With that one, you buy your inputs, you call us, we train you and train your farmers. That particular one, I was training farmers in Chitagwenda district, the western part of the country. This is an old man, friend of mine, a coffee farmer. He has about 50 acres of coffee, and he wants to go fully organic. So he can't buy a ton or 2 tons, and the cost will be like high. So we come in and train you on doing bokashi. Now with bokashi, there are 3 aims in doing bokashi. That particular practice you're seeing us doing there. One, because the soils are too depleted and nearly dead, they are too short of living organisms, macro and micro. The microbes. Now, with bokashi is very good at culturing, at nurturing, at multiplying the microbes, and then we plant them back to the soils. One, culturing the microbes. Two, it is an organic fertilizer. It is a fertilizer. And then 3, it is a very good soil texture and profile enhancer because one, the materials we use, coffee husks is one of them. We use charcoal dust. We use good loam soil or clay soil. We use any kind of manure, cow dung, cow manure, goat manure, or any good manure you can come across. We use ash. Of course, you saw the whitish thing, that is maize bran or white bran.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was the white. We use molasses. So the white is the brand, and we use molasses and we use yeast, baking yeast. Why? Because why the coffee husks? The coffee husks have an ingredient called silica. There is a nutrient, an ingredient called silica in it. Now, silica is the same ingredient that we are looking for in the clay soil. This is a very good magnet for attracting the microbes. It's a very good scent for them naturally. So if the microbes are in miles away from your field, you know, if in preparation of this, it's going to take us about 7 or 8 or 10 days for it to be fully ready. So across the days, I mean, this silica is, these microbes, God engineered the earth and the world and its things in a special way. Even if they are miles away, they will be smelling this and they will be coming. So we are trapping them in one place, incorporate them in a complete manure fertilizer, and then take them and plant them to gardens which are short of the microbes. So that's why we use the coffee husks and then the clay soil. If the clay soil is not available, good loam soil. So it is a pile. We keep piling. So level one, we pile the coffee husks. Level two, we put the soil, the good soil. Level three, we pile the manure now, cow dung, dry cow dung or goat manure. Then level three, we come and put the brand, rice brand or maize brand. Rice brand is ideal because these microbes that we want to culture enjoy it very well. It has very good quantities of vitamin B, vitamin the B's especially. It's good food for the microbes as they multiply. Why we use charcoal dust now? This is a very good moisture keeper. Huh? You know charcoal dust. It always be
Yes.
moist. Uh, these microbes cannot be cultured in a dry substrate, so it must be cool and to facilitate their multiplication and production. Why we use ash there is, of course, ash. Ash is a natural catalyst. Fastening the processes, breaking down ingredients here and there. Plus, it's a very, very rich source of potassium. Of course, there is sizable calcium in there. There are other minerals in the ash there. Why we use molasses? Molasses sugar. This is, I mean, in the process of making sugar in those factories, molasses is a substance that comes off. So this is sugar. Now, for the microbes to multiply, there is energy given off. So we must what's the word? We must give the energy back. They must eat again in order to multiply, and so that process takes a lot of heat. So that's why we introduce now the sugars. That's in the molasses. Why do we use the yeast, the baking yeast there? Of course, yeast is to it helps in the fermentation. The fermentation, hence the whole process of making the fertilizer ready. So it's a stack. It's a layers. Layer one, layer two, layer three in those ingredients as I've mentioned them. So that is day one. We stack it like that. So cover it in under shade. It's an aerobic process. Air must be flowing, but no water going through it. So day two, we come back and now start mixing. The mixing heap, we mix in the morning and the evening. It gives off very, very, very much heat because in the production and reproduction of these microbes, they give off a lot of heat, energy. So that's why we do. So if you see in the background, that's part of the coffee field, the young coffee field of my farmer in Chitagwenda. Bwambale must know Chitagwenda because Bwambale must be coming from the Kasese area. If you are in Chitagwenda, you are overlooking the Rwenzori Mountains. So that is the area we're talking about.
I've also worked there.
That is bokashi. That is bokashi. Now the beauty with bokashi is you can make 10 tons in just under 1.5 million Uganda shillings. That is too little for a fertilizer like 10 tons, which is going to sustain a 10-acre coffee field or banana field, as opposed to the other sets of fertilizers, which may seem a little expensive for the farmer. I mean, the bottleneck to farmers adapting to these agroecological inputs and organic inputs is the cost attached to it, the bulk and the cost. Now, why I put another strategy here, strategy 3, as we must innovate and innovate and innovate such that the farmers really accept to use what the knowledge is saying, is we must make the cheapest possible organic agroecological inputs for them to adapt to. So bokashi is one of the cheapest. You see, you can go to wherever you sell coffee house, they sell coffee house, buy about 10 bags at just 100, like nearly 150 Uganda shillings, 50,000 Uganda shillings or something like that. Go buy a jerrycan of molasses at around 40,000 Uganda shillings. So the cost of producing 5 tons of a bokashi fertilizer may end up at around 500 or 600 Uganda shillings per kilogram. That is too small for any farmer to afford. Yet the beauty is we are changing the soils. Our prime goal is to change the texture of the soil, change the profiles of the soil, make this soil as healthy and nutritious as possible. If a drought comes, your soil will not start cracking because we have built, when these ingredients break down, they become part of the soil. There is good aeration, there is a good drainage, things like that. So this is what we aim at. Because remember, since the 2 weeks ago, we talked about the soil health now. Bokashi fertilizer is very superb at ensuring our soil health, intentional building of the health of the soil. Majorly, the microbes will be there. Remember, we said these microbes are the cooks. These are the engineers of the diet the plant will eat. The breaking down of the nitrogen, the breaking down of the phosphorus, the breaking down of the potassiums, the calciums, and so it's the microbes that will do that work. So these guys who give us enticing conventional fertilizers will bring in an NPK, in its manufactured state. But if we don't have a mechanism for the uptake of these by the plants, it will just stay there. That's why if a plant feeds on that synthetic fertilizer that you put in for it to feed on the 3 months, whatever remains now will not be part of the soil. It will actually be now developing into a serious hazard, an acid or a serious alkaline or something. A hazard for the garden now. This is why we find the gardens are exhausted. A farmer will tell you after the 3rd season or 4th season, even if I apply, it will not work because you didn't build the soil. You are simply feeding a plant to do a sprint and give you results. Yeah, so that is the bokashi. So the other set, you saw where we are mixing the cow dung and the milk. That was, we are intending now to make a foliar fertilizer, a nitrogen based. We are making a nitrogen, specifically a nitrogen, because a farmer can produce each of these ingredients separately. You can produce a potassium independently, produce a nitrogen independently, produce a phosphorus, produce a calcium independently. So in that particular on screen, this is cow dung, we have milk and molasses. These are the 3 ingredients we need. So we're going to make what we call a spamagro. This is, you call it any name you want. So that is the molasses being poured in the milk, and the yeast also. Yeast is the key ingredient because we work with fermentation now. These are natural things. We work with fermentation. So get our cow dung, mix our milk and molasses, and then mix it thoroughly and cover it for about a month. And then about a month it will be mature enough, fermented enough to be able to use. So get a scoop like 1 kilogram, dissolve it in water, to make it liquid, because we want to make a foliar fertilizer, a knapsack spray fertilizer. So scoop the 1 kilogram of already supermagro fertilizer, dissolve it well, sieve it well, such that it can go through the knapsack. Then go and spray a nitrogen. If a plant is only deficient in nitrogen, give it nitrogen. Don't give it potassium because it has already potassium. It is telling you, I am yellow in the leaves, therefore nitrogen is what I want. Give it nitrogen. Don't bring a whole NPK now. if it lacks a potassium, and you see it from the purpling of the veins, I mean of the leaves, make a potassium particularly. That is what it wants. So what our farmers have been messing up with most of the times is they give you an NPK, but some ingredient is already in excess there. So it will be a waste of the resource for you to put an ingredient which the plant doesn't need. So these are specifics. So if the plant needs a whole NPK, you have been able to manufacture a nitrogen, you have been able to manufacture a potassium, and you have been able to manufacture moving the calcium from bonds, and then we remain with the phosphorus. We shall see those processes. So these are the simple steps. These are this is the knowledge that we want to disseminate to the bottommost farmer to be able to do on farm. Our key issue here is the farmer must be able to produce these things on farm if we are to really make agroecology something sustainable and enjoyable for everyone. So this is what we are showing, making it work. Yeah, so that's what we are showing. And then you showed a few pictures of our finished product,
Oh,
Jimusa. We have we decided to just zero down to fertilizer. So this is for the knapsack, go and spray on the crops. It's a full NPK in there. So then the middle pack is Jimusa, the pellet fertilizer. Take 100 grams or 150 grams, put in the hole, put your maize there, it will go up to maturity. You get a maize cob that will give you up to a minimum of 150 grams, of grain, to a maximum of 200 to 250 to also even 300 grams per cob. So in that way, if you are a maize farmer, you have a plant population per acre of maize of around 7,000 plants or holes. You are sure that I have a guaranteed 2 tons for my acre, and a maximum of 2.5 or even beyond, because you calculated it from the feeding, that if I put my 100 grams of Jimusa in that hole, to be able to get 25 bags out of this acre. So we want to get the farmers away from the guesswork of I think I can get 10 bags from an acre, I can get 12 bags. So that kind of guesswork, which does not yield into an equal output in terms of money from the efforts from the efforts per acre, where our farmers are still swimming into poverty. We call them farmers, but they're not getting an equal measure from the fields because they don't actually do the mathematics, starting from the land preparation, the fertilizing, the seed input, and things like that. So those are some of our innovations. It's a notorious disease disturbing our people. So in the background, you see we deal with indigenous seed. There's a pack of indigenous maize there. So at Memago, we are small but steadily moving steps forward in inspiring. Julius talked about the inspiring now. I want to inspire this farmer to be able to go to look around his environment, pick a tithonia, pick some cow urine, pick some goat manure, and I make a fertilizer because I want the yield now to be as maximum as possible. Instead of getting a 10 kilogram bunch of banana, which will yield me 5,000 shillings, why don't I innovate and feed it to give me up to 70 kilograms, which will fetch me 40,000 Uganda shillings? So these are the basic knowledge gaps that our mainstream extension workers actually don't expound on. They will just come and say, oh, they brought seeds for you, come, you plant, things like that. So this is why we innovate because we want to change the ecosystems. We want to bring this Mother Earth, back to normal. So yeah, those are some of the innovations for today that I managed to share. There are several, from pesticides to herbicides, organically managed. We can manage anything organically as long as the people are empowered to do this. Call us to your farms, we train your farmers, and we do this. And I mean, it starts in the mind. Open up the mind to do it, and we shall really do it. Yeah.
I can't thank you I can't thank you enough, Mr. Kakande. To me, that was more than inspiring. And
Yeah.
it is what I have been looking for. I mean, how do we get ourselves out of the poverty we are in? How do we protect ourselves? You have given us the solutions. So our viewers, it's the right time to contact experts we bring on this forum to show you how to do things. It doesn't matter where you are, whether in Nigeria, whether in Ghana, Sierra Leone, wherever you are watching us. It's the time to use this expertise we bring here, contact them, learn how to preserve our soils. Today I was learning. As actually Julia said, see, hear, do, discover, and inspire. Now,
Inspired.
the show today has done all that to me because now we are inspired. We have been wondering, how do we reduce destroying our soils? We have taken us through a process using this charcoal, molasses, yeast, maize, and all that. I mean, this is the best things we need to know as a people whose background is agriculture. So thank you so much. I want to thank so much, Mr. Kakanda. And I think in
Yeah,
other
actually, to add something,
subsections, yes,
to add
please
something a
go ahead.
little, Julius's network is not good, but this is a colleague who if we attack agroecology from the land issues, plant and so, is very good at acaricides, organic acaricides, and animal. I mean, dewormers, the disinfectants, organically. He showed a jerrycan there. Julius is very good at in the livestock sections. We can manage the farm agroecologically, organically, both plant and that is Julius's innovation. It's a very good. Actually, I use it on one of the boards here. It's a very good vitamin, multivitamin, booster, dewormer, things like that. His network is not good. He will not talk for it, but I can able talk for him because.
Julius, can you mute, please? Thank you
Yes,
so much, Kakandi.
yes, please.
Julius, we are going to wrap up the
Yes.
show because we have overspent our time. But I would like you to use some 3 minutes to talk about what we are seeing on the screen.
Yes, thank you very much. What you're seeing on the screen is a bioimmune booster, an immune booster. That booster has helped us, very many people, in the recovering, especially in the livestock, and it is given orally. It is an immune booster. Even if the pig or any animal is sick, we have seen a lot of testimonies, and especially managing pigs that have been sick, even cows, goats, chicken, or poultry. So it is a very good animal booster, and it is one of the innovations that I came across, and I used the medicinal plants, their leaves, their roots, their barks, and I came up with that product. So that product is I'm doing research and making everyone to test it. And so far now, we have it be bought. It is bought, and it is helping people with the pigs, chicken, and others. So the ingredients that are inside, we have the neem tree, we have aloe vera, ginger, turmeric, and of course the lactic acid. So name them. I also have a product that manages the ticks, and I've made it out of one plant. I have also telling farmers how to manage the termites using the million fish, million fish what? The soup for million fish in managing their termites in their gardens. So we have almost everything to take us in production. There is a certain plant in Ateso, for us we call it a chadoi. It's only one plant. When you burn the ash, you just get a lid of it and then you mix with the 20 liters of water as Akari said that, okay, it helps you to control ticks or soft-bodied insects within your what? Your poultry or within your farm. So we have all, even the organic fertilizers, fungicides, pesticides. So we have almost everything out. So in case somebody also needs to be trained or to have the product, we can still link up. Because of the time, I'm sorry, because of the network, but I want to thank the organizing committee. I want to thank Pelam Uganda. I want to thank the mainstream Humanist TV Africa for hosting us for this afternoon. So we have those products, and my brothers there that are with me today, they have talked very well, and yes, we know each other. As the other brothers told you that the product is there. We also see that the seed, of course, without a seed, you cannot talk about agriculture. So the main thing is we need to preserve and conserve our seeds so that we be in position. And the other thing is take care of the nature, and the nature will take care of you. Most of the areas that people have tampered with the nature, the end results, they also have the climate change effects. They are also, the ecosystem also fights you back. So that's why we have the other brother was telling us about the cancer, the pressure, the what. So it's all about how we manage our ecosystem. So that's what I can supplement this evening. But I want to thank everyone in whatever country you are from. But we have the product that can actually. Then finally, I would also maybe love the organizers to see, so long as we come up with this product, there is one value addition, adding value to these products, and then now trying to help us to certify them. Because now if you want to search products to move to some countries to help other people,
I get your point, Julius. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julius. That is good. Yeah, we need to find
and
ways.
also
Continue. Julius, continue.
yes. Hello.
Continue as the wrap up. Continue
Yes,
as
we
we
need
conclude.
to create mechanisms of. Hello.
We can hear
Hello.
you. Please conclude.
Yes,
Conclude, Julius.
I am trying to say. I conclude by saying that it takes us time to see that it begins from you, the listener, and we try as much as possible to see the next neighbor, and we need to include the aspect of gender. Most of the times, most farms that I've ever visited, you find the man is struggling, the lady is not. Find the lady struggling, the man or the children, they are not bothering. So farming starts from the family government, and it goes to the neighbor. And now we are in mainstreaming, meaning that we are bringing the whole of Africa inclusive. So that when we go to the market, whatever comes to the table, we are very sure. So agroecology or organic agriculture, it deals with the population. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. H. Julius. It has been a wonderful show because we are learning. And of course, let us have the products there. We shall find ways of crossing the boundaries. But let us have the products there. And I want to thank the two of you. Julius, we are done. I want to thank you so much, you and Kakande, for teaching us. I know colleagues in Ghana, colleagues in Nigeria, wherever they are, because we are mostly watched by people on Facebook, on our pages, our studios in Ghana, our studios in Sierra Leone, and of course Nigeria. People watch. Our viewers actually more on Facebook, but I think that those who are watching and are interested in learning from you. You are teaching us, and in one or another, you are changing the trajectory of Africa. You are changing the way things are going to be done. And who knows, with the time, with guys like you, we shall end we shall end hunger. Now, thank you so much. We want to conclude this show. It has been one of those longest shows, but I'm happy we did it. Yes, it was long because of internet connection challenges and of course all that, but at least it was too educational. I want to invite Mr. Bwambale to give us your parting shot in a minute or two.
Thank you so much, colleagues, and Kato for hosting us, and of course Bongole for making sure that we are online. I think I just have to say that what we now need is how do we promote the team or the colleagues that are doing agroecology? How do we render support to them to make sure that their innovations are actually certified, they are tested, scientifically proven, and then they can make sense on the international market and can be used? Because what we are struggling with are the innovations and the alternatives. Now that we have a team of so many colleagues who are having alternatives, how do we promote them? How do we certify their products? How do we undertake research on their products so that they meet the standards that would be required across the globe? So that they do sales, they educate us, they are empowered to reach out to the people, and then all of us going into the agroecological movement to improve our environment, our health, our diets, our nutrition, etc. So I think that this would make sense for all of us to advocate for them, to join their campaign, and other people to join us in campaigning for agroecology and agroecological practices across board. Yeah, I thank you so much, colleagues, for sharing with us. Please have a lovely evening.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kakandi, your parting shot.
Yeah, my parting shot this evening is this time I don't have an indigenous plant. I mean, something to show you, but I'll be attending the African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit. It will start on Tuesday in Nairobi, and one of the side events will be talking about agroecological and organic farming systems in Africa. I can't wait to come back next week with the what knowledge I'll have gathered there and share what is the African perspective of agroecological and organic farming systems. So wish me well as I go there, so that I bring more knowledge. Trust
All
me,
the best, all the best.
Yeah, thank you. If we engage these farmers, we can innovate. I mean, we have vast raw materials around us. Any plant can be used to naturally manage something in the ecosystem. So we must really engage in knowledge dissemination, motivating our farmers. We must change their minds, not to think that these organic things are too bulky. I mean, they are very luxurious, they are too costly. So we must walk that journey of getting their minds back on track so that we make an impact. And surely we shall change this earth back to the normal.
Thank you so much. I want to say we wish you good luck in Nairobi, and you are waiting here at Human TV Africa to watch, to have those photos you are going to take from there, the videos if you find anything, because we are learning. I'm telling you, Kakande, Julius, Kimera, Bwambale, what we are doing here is going to be the fulcrum. It's going to help people in Africa, maybe in 1 year or 2 or 3. Africa is going to change by people like you, by the work you are doing. Because as Kimera said, agriculture is the neck. I used to say it's the backbone, but I remember, I think we're talking about being the neck. I mean, it's the center. We are basically an agriculture producing, it's the oxygen. So
yes,
we need these programs. We don't mind how long it's going to take us, but we need this mindset change. And we're doing it for us, people, especially in Africa. Now, Mr. Kimera, you are parting short.
Thank you very much, Kato. What a day, what a show. It is amazing, inspiring, motivating. And I would like to thank you, Humanist TV, for continuously bringing us on board. Something that started small is now growing big, and it is grounded. Today's show, mainstreaming, looking at aspects. We have learned integrated actions. We have learned coordinated actions. We have learned action-oriented. We have learned the multi-sector approaches and making them national priorities. Listening to Julius, listening to Akande, I saw those 5 pillars: integration, coordination, action-oriented, using what we have, seeing the multi-sector holders, multi-sector stakeholders participating in this, and making community approaches national approaches. So this leads me to a terminology that they are using in health, where they say replace, saying that we have, seeing the challenges that we have reviewed. Now, after reviewing, like Mr. Kakande is doing, he's promoting the resilient approaches. The appeal that has come in from Julius, how can you help us to transform and get these checked? That is in the legislation.
So what you want to say is transporting,
doing assessment, then creating after assessing, and then enforcing through implementing compliance. So in today's session, we have fulfilled the word replace. The actions that we have been doing that have ended up being vagaries of humanity, vagaries to the environment, vagaries to the food system. Through this, we have replaced. And I would like to end by saying this has confirmed, using Julius' words, abuse the environment, then it will get back to you in a very dangerous way. So let's look, and it is all producing food. So food is medicine, and the nature is medicine to humanity. So colleagues, thank you very much, and Kakande, God bless, travel well, go harvest, come we co-create, innovate, get us inclusive, and integrate, and then we will get it. So we are going to continue with the shows up to the end of this month. You never know, we might find ourselves in June still doing the same things. Thank you for the technologies. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much.
Till next Saturday.
Mr. Kakande had a request. Dennis, you should look into the messages, please, the chat messages. Kakande has a request there. But of course, we do well in sharing our talk live on different social media. Of course, we use more of our Facebook sessions in Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Zambia. This is where we have networks. Most colleagues actually see us on Facebook more than actually YouTube. We are more seen on Facebook. But I wish that with time, maybe also our YouTube may peak. But at the moment, it's more on Facebook. We do think that with time, these shows are going to be so important, especially because they are archived, they are there. And with time, we are going to change the way things are in Africa by improving agriculture, by putting food on the table in a sustainable manner. I want to thank so much, Mr. Kimera, for bringing the experts, Mr. Bambale for always being there. Thank you so much. I want to thank Mr. Kande and, of course, Mr. Julius for the input they have given us today. We need those practical insights. It's the only way you're going to get out of poverty. It's the only way you're going to put food on the table, by seeing what Kakande is doing. Me, I'm not worried about certification. I'm not worried. I need to come. But let the farmers in your village, in your sub-county, feel your impact, because those are your ambassadors in the first place. In Uganda, we don't need to worry so much about the outside market as long as we have a starting point. I know that what Memago is doing in that area. If you can get, even if it were 10,000 farmers buying your products, Kakande will be much better. Why? The economy in your village will be better, but also the economy in your pockets will be better, because we are looking at how do we change our own environment. So to me, I'm not worrying about so much of the external market. I'm still worrying about how do we satisfy the internal market. If your village mates, if your sub-county mates, if your constituent mates are using your products sustainably and they are changing their lives, they are going to be our ambassadors. And with time, like it or not, they are going to say this is certified, because there will be ambassadors who say it works. Look at my garden. Look at how my crops stand out. Look at how my animals are doing. It was because of Julius. It was because of Kakande that I am where I am. So I want to encourage you, Kakande, please go ahead. Our role is to promote this product in one way or another. And of course, to find a way, how do we link you up with the experts elsewhere? How do we attract the attention of the Minister of Agriculture, for example? How do we attract the attention of investors who would like to work with you? Because this is another sustainable way of putting income in the pockets of farmers without depleting our soil productivity. Thank you so much, Kakande. Thank you so much, Julius. Thank you so much, Kimera and Gwamba. It was a nice show. And of course, Dennis Bongole for putting everything together. We wish you the best of the journeys going to Nairobi, and you wait to learn from what you pick from there. Please, thank you so much again, and see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It was great.